Welcome to the Flore Fantasy and Sci-Fi Lore. We are still in Avernus. If you're not familiar, we've been covering the story of the descent into Avernus. This is the adventure that takes place between the events of Baldur's Gate 2 and Baldur's Gate 3, but we're also diving into the lore, which is histories and creature features and all of those things along the way as we encounter the various aspects of the world there. This is part 6, so if you haven't heard the others, we do recommend you check that out. Easiest on the Patreon, but you can also just do a search in whatever podcast app you use. This adventure, we are inside the Vanthumpur manor, in the kitchen where they have just encountered the Tressum for the first time. So that is where the adventure begins. If that is what you were looking for, this is the episode for you. Roll the intro.
Do you remember the first story that was so spellbinding it drove you to break the rules and stay up all night to keep reading, keep watching, keep playing? So good, you forgot your life and lived there?
So good, the moment it ended, you asked yourself, what next?
Welcome to the Flore. Our goal is to take you back, take you deeper, to explore and understand more, and relive that childlike wonder.
Join us as we dive deep into humanity's greatest stories, no matter how they are told, through books, movies, television, even games.
One of us does an in-depth research on the topic. One of us is familiar with the topic.
And one of us knows nothing. So the right questions will always be asked and addressed for anyone coming into the topic, regardless of how much you know.
Enjoy another world, another adventure, another spellbinding story. Join us on the Flore. Welcome to the Flore Fantasy and Sci-Fi Lore. We are continuing in our descent into Avernus run. So this is part 7 of that journey. So if you haven't been following us along, this may be a little bit confusing. What we are doing is going through the D&D adventure Descent into Avernus, as it is a key narrative connecting point from Baldur's Gate 2 to Baldur's Gate 3. And we're diving into the lore points as we encounter them. Creature features, magical history, all of that deep lore stuff that we love here at the Flore. If you haven't listened to the first episodes, go back and do that. It's highly recommended. Let me give you a quick summary of some of the events in the previous episode leading up to here. The party was pressed into service by the Flaming Fist. They found a cult of the Dead 3, which then led them to Mortlock, the youngest son of the Vanthumpur family. They are one of the patriarchs of Baldur's Gate, and the head of the family is one of the dukes. They then have been following him as he journeys to, try and unravel his brother's plot to kill him. You have journeyed to the Vanthumpur family villa in the upper city, and you have broken into the house. You were attacked by imps. Oh, and you were joined by Rhea Mantlemorn, the Hellrider Paladin.
That's right.
So she is looking for the Duke, believing she knows something about the disappearance of Thavius Krieg, who is the overseer of Elturel, the city that disappeared.
Rhea Mantlemorn, real quick, is she the prayer?
She is the one who prays, yes.
She is the Rhea Mantlemorn, the one who prays.
Returning to a brief low point here, the city of Elturel was being attacked by vampires and undead, and just wiping everybody out. At the time, he was called the High Rider. He was the mayor or governor of the city of Elturel, was a vampire lord. And every night, the citizens of Elturel would pray that the dawn would come sooner, so that all of these undead could stop attacking and slaying and feeding on them.
And then one day, there was a second son. We talked about this one.
Yes. Then one day, the dawn did come sooner, so soon that it destroyed all of the vampires, and then their minions were either left to wander mindless or died as well.
And so now tourists will come from far and wide as a pilgrimage to Elturel to pray that they will get...
Yeah, you've done your research, yeah.
I listen to my experts sometimes.
So the next event that hit Elturel, that is the moment when Thavius Krieg takes over, right? The High Rider ended up being a vampire lord, and so the whole government shifts to this theocracy led by a high priest who they call the High Overseer, which is Stavius Krieg. That's who you're looking for. The guy whose prayer brought about the second son.
Okay.
Now, the outskirts of El Terrell were being attacked by by devils, who were kidnapping people either as breeding stock for tieflings or to enslave to fight in the blood war.
You said tieflings? I've heard it pronounced.
Tieflings.
Okay, tieflings. Is both correct, or should we shame you?
Nope, tieflings. I say it wrong sometimes.
Shame Joe later. Got it.
So here's the thing. If you don't encounter somebody saying certain words that don't match up with standard pronunciation, you read them a certain way, and then you learn to read them that way for a long time.
I sure know. When Eli was first doing, I want to say it was like original Baldur's Gate or Baldur's Gate 2, you kept correcting him. So he was like 80 hours in research mode. He hadn't listened to one person say a word because he was so deep on the internet. There's like 6 different things. You were like, no, you're dumb.
Yeah. As these devils are attacking the little villages on the outskirts of El Terrell, once again, the people turn to prayer, particularly as a theocracy society, right? Like prayer is big in El Terrell at this time. And the person who leads El Terrell in the prayer that is finally answered is the young Rhea Mantlemorn. And an angel descends from Mount Celestia named Zariel, who will lead the riders of El Terrell into the 9 hells to recover their people. So that is where Rhea Mantlemorn comes from.
Yep.
It was her who offered the prayer. She rode out with the hell riders. She's one of the few who escaped to the 9 hells.
She didn't come back.
And Zariel did not escape. Yeah. Some might argue she was promoted.
Well, that's a spoiler. We're not there yet.
I didn't finish what I was saying. She could have just been at peace, sleeping.
All right.
She got killed.
So you're at the villa. You have entered the house. You've been attacked by imps. You're kind of going through a lot of empty rooms at this point. Aaron lost his skeletons. They were fighting off guards outside.
And then we ran into the cook and his flying cat.
Yes. So you encounter the cook and a Tressim at her feet. And the Tressim's name is Slobberchops.
Good. So Baldur's Gate theme is a really wonky character with a sidekick animal. Because I remember you guys told me about a crazy barbarian with a rat or something, or a hamster.
Oh.
In Baldur's Gate 1.
Yes, Baldur's Gate 1 and 2, Minsk.
Yep. Minsk and Boo.
And apparently Boo's from outer space or something, possibly.
Yep. She's a giant space hamster who's been reduced.
Dang, nice.
It's a genuine race, the space hamsters. But he's been shrunk to like the size of like a normal hamster.
Can you undo? Well, we're not talking about that one right now. So we got
No, we're not.
We've got the cook and his Tarrasque.
The Tressim is at the cook's feet trying to like catch any food that the cook might drop, and the cook keeps trying to like kick it away.
I'm going to go try to befriend it.
Okay.
The cook or the food falling or the Tressim?
The Tressim.
All right. So you're going to try and befriend it. What are you going to do? Feed it?
Try to offer my hand, pet it, and then move on to feeding.
We should say which one of us is which, because I feel like there's disadvantage for hypothetically an on-fire barbarian sticking its hand out, and the cat
is just like, do not
the cleric.
touch me. You are on fire.
Least terrifying one. That makes sense.
All right. Well, the cat is like, I'm hungry.
I feed it.
So you have fed it, and as long as you keep feeding it, it will follow you around. And the Tressim tells you how much she hates the Vanthumpers, that they starve her all the time to make sure she looks pretty. So she is more than happy to follow you around and sniff out poisons and see imps.
Awesome. I will keep feeding that cat. Tressim.
Okay, so also in the kitchen is a dumbwaiter that goes up to one of the rooms upstairs. And then the pantry has a bunch of food and stock and supplies.
We put it all on the floor for the Tressim.
Just start dumping
Wait,
stuff
before
out.
we do that, I want to befriend the cook.
Give me a roll.
Right?
7.
No. Cook wants you out of her kitchen.
Okay, we take all the food and run.
We have rations. It's fine.
Dang, D.
All right. Keep exploring with our newfound pet.
Okay, so in the dining room, there's an iron wrought chandelier that hangs above a black oak dining table. surrounded by 8 high-backed chairs carved to look like devils.
Ooh.
The fireplace dominates one wall, flanked by red curtain windows, and a handsome glass door wine cabinet stands against one wall. As you step into this room, Slobberchops hisses to indicate there are imps, and you can see her staring at the chandelier, which prevents the imps from getting their surprise attack on you, but they still attack.
Nah, man, why does everything want to start with a fight?
How many?
Just 3, so I imagine that the 6 of you can take them pretty easily.
I swing wildly at the invisibleness of air.
Once they take an action against somebody else, they are no longer invisible.
Ooh, awesome sauce.
It's not improved invisibility. Yeah, the real edge the imps have is being invisible. They're constantly dropping surprise attacks, so they get a whole round of combat on you before you can even get your initiative rolled.
Yeah.
I, as Karlak the Barbarian, hurl myself by jumping at one of them.
Did you say hurl myself?
By jumping at one of them, yeah.
I don't understand.
It's something we've said in one of our past episodes.
It doesn't make
I
sense.
jump at one of the imps. It just doesn't sound as cool.
So you kill the imps.
Oh, wow. Easy.
Now, if you search the wine case, there's several bottles of fire wine.
What's fire wine?
Well, 15 bottles of fire wine, just a wine.
Is it flammable?
Right. Nothing special, too much.
Okay, well, we want that then. We can dump it on our barbarian later.
So there is a 16th bottle, however, that is identical to the others. Since you have Slobberchops, you don't need a perception roll. She can tell you immediately this is a bottle of Midnight Tears. It is one of the priciest and deadliest poisons you can get in Baldur's Gate.
Oh, man.
A single dose, not a bottle, a single dose is worth 1,500 gold.
Oh, wow.
So
How much is a dose? Half a bottle?
just a drop, I think. That's all you need.
Okay.
So it's a
I
very,
have plans for
very
these 15
pricey-
bottles. You can
pricey
have the other
bottle.
one.
So this is our next lore point, Midnight Tears.
Yeah, where do these come from?
I have a question about Karlak that I need to understand because I have some ideas here. If Karlak the Barbarian gets really mad, can she control what part of her body bursts into flames? Like if she wanted to like ignite something, like just her finger caught on fire?
I haven't fixed her engine, so I don't know. While the engine is broken, she's just kind of on fire and can't really control it
All the time?
all the time. Yeah,
That works for me.
but she can, like, if you give her an infernal coin, she can feed it to the engine and get like super on fire.
Okay. Well, my theory right now is I have 15 Molotov cocktails that she can light at any moment. You know? So you can have the other bottle, cleric guy, but I got some fireball. I got some poor man's fireball right here. You know, I'm going to cast it.
Midnight Tears. It's a rare poison unique to the Forgotten Realms, and it is definitely a magical one, as the effect is not based on when it is ingested, but rather the stroke of midnight. As such, it is hard to determine when the poison was given, but easy to identify.
Because it's on a clock up for the moon.
Yeah, at the stroke of midnight, that's when the poison kicks in. So if you had it at 4 a.m. this morning, doesn't hit you till midnight. If you have it at 11:30, still hits you at midnight.
That is some magic bullshit.
So, hence the name Midnight Tears, right? That's when the pain comes.
Ah, yes.
So, the book says that poisons can be crafted if the adventurer is proficient with a poisons kit and has the ingredients. But those ingredients are not always listed, but sometimes you can like deduce the ingredients of a poison, such as a carrion crawler mucus, and a carrion crawler is a creature you can fight.
Yeah.
So pretty easy to figure out where you get that component for that poison, right? But the Midnight Tear is vaguer, so I really scoured the internet looking for it. But we're going to take a brief break, and I will tell you what I found in the Feywild about Midnight Tears.
All right.
Yay.
Okay, so we have been mentioning at the end of our episodes recently about the treasure room, how, as Aaron likes to describe it, in the Flore we go deep into things, but in the treasure room we kind of go wide. And we wanted to give people who have never been in the treasure room a little bit of a sample. So going forward, we'll probably be putting in little bits and pieces here. So here is a small clip from the treasure room. We hope you enjoy it and are interested in learning more in there.
I really want an owlbear if I'm a necromancer.
Why?
Because owls, they don't poop things out. They just eat things whole, digest it, and it gets turned into these pellets, and then they vomit up the pellets that have all the bones that are already cleaned.
Oh, interesting.
And so owlbears, will just constantly be producing bones for you that are cleaned and packaged.
Such an efficient business model.
Summon those.
You wouldn't even need to
skeletons
be a necromancer. You just be like, bring your bodies to me. We'll clean them for a fee.
All right, Midnight Tears and the Feywild. So like I said, this is taken from someone's homebrew. They posted on Reddit, but of all the theories and ideas about where this component would come from, this one felt very well done in world, very well thought out, and just really fit everything. And like I said, in the actual hard lore of the game, there isn't any explanation. So this is what the writer, Wild Esper, came up with, right? The Feywild exists in a perpetual state of dusk. This is known by all. What few know is that in the court of summer and winter there exist courtyards in which the sun and moon shine down in isolated pockets of noon and night endlessly. Within the court of winter, black violets grow amidst freshly fallen snow under a cold moon. From the violets one can harvest a drop of nectar known as Midnight's Tear. It is said that the poison cannot harm any member of the winter court, and those of the summer are particularly vulnerable. A clear, odorless, colorless liquid, it only reveals itself as an inky black poison when it comes into contact with cold iron. And I was like, that is someone who really is familiar with the Forgotten Realms, their lore, how it's written, and I felt that it's so good it should be canon.
Yeah, that is great.
So
I'll take that.
Here's the awesome part about it. If you don't want to take that, we have our Dune intro episode, and in it, Eli talks about force fields. And Frank Herbert, how they're explained is basically, you don't even understand it's soft magic. And so if you don't want to take this awesome Reddit post as the lore point, you can just be like, I don't understand. I don't get it. It's magical. It kills people at midnight.
So, well, the explanation here is not how the poison works. What this explanation is, how do you make this poison? Where would you get that ingredient? You visit the winter court and collect the nectar from the violets that grow there.
You ransack someone's house. That's how we got it.
Ransack someone else. Karlak holds up her bottle and I just, that's how we got ours.
Yeah, I don't know what you're talking about. That sounds like a bunch of random made-up jargon.
Be like, this stuff grows on shelves.
Every 16 fire whiskey,
As Shadowheart observes the thing and speaks of the lore of the violets in the Shadow Court and the Feywild, Karlak's, now, this is how you get it. It's just like, I'm just trying to inform you here.
Is that the difference between Conan Exiles and Skyrim? Conan Exiles, you ask, how do you get something? Be like, well, look up your knowledge tree, identify the essential components, gather them, build the item. And then in Skyrim, how do you get this? Be like, you kill somebody, take it off his dead body. That's how you get everything.
In Skyrim, you can actually play as an alchemist and actually learn how to make the potions. But the fact that even you, Joe, the min-maxer, was like, that seems like too much work. You're right.
Just kill people and take it off their dead body. That's how you get stuff in Skyrim.
It's the diplomatic way of doing it in Skyrim.
The Iron Price. All right, so just beyond the dining room, you see a lifelike statue of Duke Vanthumpur cradling her tressum in her arms. It is startling for the briefest moment as you think you've actually encountered the Duke herself. Beyond her are the stairs to the second floor. At the
question?
top, yes.
The Tressum we see, is it the same one, Pussycat Face, that we made friends with?
Yes, that's the statue has that cat in her arms.
Can we ask the Tressum what it thinks of the picture?
What it thinks of the picture? Yeah, I guess the Tressum would be like, it's a lie. He says, I hate it here. He says, but I don't know where home is.
All right.
He was kidnapped in the night, brought here in a cage, and sold to the Vanthumpers. Right, that's his life.
Wow.
Doesn't know how to get home. E.T'd it.
Yeah. So, all right. So
That sucks, dude.
beyond the stairs to the second floor, you will see 5 guards, each guarding outside a door. Seeing the blood on your clothes and Mortlock, they turn and prepare for battle. One calls out, Thurstwell, Mortlock lives. So, give me your roll. See if we get a 1, someone dies.
8 and a 15.
Why'd you roll twice?
For me and Aaron.
Yeah, I rolled a 15. Carla got a 15. Cleric got an 8.
Okay, so you kill the guards. You begin searching the rooms. We'll go through the basic rooms first. So there's one room with some fairly nice, decent clothes. Another room with like barely anything, just a bed. Mortlock says it's his. Then you go into Thurstwell's room, and he is in there cowering.
Before we do the Karlak or the Thurstwell room, what is that Morlock wearing? Anything
Morlock?
nice? Yeah.
Just a piece of dirty cloth, almost like a loincloth.
All right, let's put him in that nice clothes we found in the first room.
They will not fit him. Emmerich is like half his size.
Okay, well, let's cut him up and like the parts of him.
Cut him up.
Hodgepodge him together so he looks a little nicer before we go beat up his brother, cousin.
Brother.
Okay, now you look spiffy in these patchwork quilts. Let's go beat the fuck out of his brother.
All right, so in Thurstwell's room, right, drab curtains cover the windows of this plain room, which contains a bed, a padlocked iron chest, and a claw-footed iron bathtub and a fireplace. Standing in the middle room is Thurstwell Vanthumpur, a frail and hateful 42-year-old man.
We got all that from looking at him?
Rhea Mantlemorn demands to know where his mother is, and he doesn't answer. He just attacks. And several invisible imps join. They don't get surprised because you've got the Tressum there to warn you.
Jabberjaw. Slobberchops.
Jabberjaw.
No, I'm Jabberjaw. That's why I won't say
That's what
Slobberchops because I was hungry.
So, all right. So you battle Thurstwell.
I don't want to kill him.
All right. If you don't kill him and take him prisoner, he is more than happy to trade his knowledge for his freedom.
Sweet, we're fine with that.
Okay. Go.
First, though, I want to brand him with Korvac's hand. Yeah, just
grab his
put
face.
it on his chest. Just like, if you shortchange us or try to screw us, it's a lot more where that came from, just right in the middle of his chest.
Right in the middle of his chest.
Branding doesn't work the way it does in D&D as it does in the real world. It takes a lot to actually brand somebody because of the amount of healing there is in this world.
Okay, well, I want to hurt him a lot by putting my
too.
fire hand on him. Like, the brand could come off. The pain in that moment is real, right?
Yes.
Okay, cool. So I punctuated what I was saying properly with pain.
All right.
His mother, the Duke, is in the dungeon below the villa, the entrance to which is through her bedroom. And she is down there with Thavius Krieg. She and the former overseer of El Terrell are plotting to seize control of Baldur's Gate. He and his brothers recently stole the shield of the Hidden Lord from a crypt under the city. A powerful devil named Gargaroth is trapped in the shield and has vowed to help the Vanthumpers conquer Baldur's Gate if released. And Thavius Krieg is confident that he can devise a way to release the devil from the shield. Thavius arrived in the city a few days ago with a puzzle box that is currently in his chest, and Thavius has let the family safeguard guard the item while he studies the shield. So in the corner is his chest, and Thurstwell gives you the keys to open it,
Okay.
which reveals the infernal puzzle box and a potion of healing. If you demand he open the puzzle box, he refuses and says he can't. Any further threatening or harming him will yield the same result, as he actually can't
You
open
said
it yet.
further threatening, and you meant further threatening.
Yes.
Anyways,
All right.
continue.
So we've got the puzzle box. Don't know how to open it yet.
We've got
Yes.
Jabberjaws, Slobberchops. We killed a bunch of imps. I think that's kind of where we're at right now. We're upstairs, right?
Yep, you're upstairs. So the next room to search will be the Duke's. And then, as Mortlock indicated,
We're going to go downstairs where Thaddeus...
you'll need to go into
Let's
the
go
dungeon.
search the last
Yeah.
room, and then I think that would be perfect to wrap it up there.
Actually, let's wrap it up here, because that kind of launches us into... There's a bunch of
Yeah, but we
stuff
didn't search
in
it,
that
so we
room
don't know
that's really
that.
important. So
We'll find out next time.
Oh, cool.
there will be. I know that. Find out next time. But yeah, so next year we'll check the Duke's room, library, and all of that. Steal her loot, I imagine.
Of course.
And
Nope,
journey into the
no.
dungeon.
Repurpose. It's not stealing.
What
This is
are
how
you, a kinder?
It's like Kinder, or it's what's the other one? The elves drow. It's like, as long as you're not caught, it's not stealing.
Yeah, so I don't know if you're familiar with the Kender, but the Kender believe everything is owned in common and only borrowed as needed by
Isn't
by
that like a
someone
wait?
else.
Who are the Kinder? You told me about them when we were talking about dwarves, I think.
They're halflings on the world of Kryn. So like people are always like, you stole this. Be like, I borrowed it. I needed it. You know, like, and they think that like when people like humans and elves lock stuff up in vaults and stuff, it's making it a game to borrow. Right? Look at this elaborate game you have to play to borrow their stuff.
You have to play to borrow their stuff. Must be good stuff to borrow.
Right. The stuff was there to be used by somebody who needed it in that moment. So you taking it means you were the one in need. This is not stealing. It was there for you.
So how do Kenders feel about utility belts? Like, do they wear those, or like if they have stuff in those things that's not properly sharing?
So I mean, they have stuff they need, and if somebody takes their stuff, they just take more. They're like, oh, somebody must have borrowed my knife. I'm gonna borrow yours.
Do they borrow off of people? Is my follow-up question.
Yes.
So like,
Yes, they will borrow right out of your pockets.
Oh my gosh, a Kender Batman combo would be amazing. He's like, I'm gonna use this thing. I don't know where it went. Kender's like, I'm so glad I have this thing that I found.
I'm so glad I have this.
I think he's going to be more like a Robin.
The Kender?
Little
yeah.
guy.
Actually, Dick Grayson, I could actually see taking out of Batman's utility belt, like mid anything happening. No big deal. He probably has.
Yeah.
Damian Wayne for sure, but vindictively. It's like, I have rights to this. Anyways.
I would use this better than you anyway.
That is Damian. See, you listen.
All right, treasure room question.
What D&D animals, because I don't know this very well, so this would be good for us, less than super knowledgeable D&D players. What D&D animal that closely resembles an actual like human pet in real life would you want as a pet in your daily life?
Ooh, yeah.
So this will be up to you guys mostly, because I really only know about the Tressum and Hellhounds, which I don't really think that is close, just based off their lineage.
All right. We will talk about that in the treasure room. We hope you've enjoyed this episode. We have mentioned in the past that if you go to the Patreon page, we have collections of all the different worlds and pieces of lore we have covered. For example, if you want everything we have ever done about Baldur's Gate, from the invention of D&D to Baldur's Gate 1, Baldur's Gate 2, Dark Alliance, all of that, you can find individual collections for all of those, or just one big collection containing all of Baldur's Gate or all of D&D. So everything we have covered, Eberron, Marvel, DC, Aliens, Xenoverse, Cyberpunk, Dune, and more. We have collections for each of those worlds. And I do want to mention that on the Patreon, the only thing behind the subscription is the Treasure Room content. Anything that has been released in the podcast for free is still free there. It is just a better organization of the information that the podcast app doesn't let us do. They are just a big list, and you just got to type in your search words. On the Patreon, there are tags for everything. You got fantasy, D&D, creature features, Baldur's Gate 1, Baldur's Gate 2, Dark Alliance, all of that. Just an individual tag for those episodes. And as I said, we do have collections just to make this as easy as possible to find what you're looking for. We have learned in the past that a lot of people who listen to The Flore, they're interested in one or two of the worlds, and they may check out one or two of the episodes when we switch worlds, but they're really just mostly interested in that. So we just want to consolidate everything you're looking for to make it just as easy as possible to access. So check that out just to make your life easier. And we are working at making sure you can download any of the free episodes there. So even if you're going to lose Wi-Fi or connection, you can get the episodes you want before that happens, or just not burn your data while you're traveling to and from work or whatever else is you do while you listen. And thank you. I hope you continue to enjoy the show.